Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome, my friends. We are a small group today, and let's try to make the best out of it. So this is our Thursday Q&A, and we can ask questions about politics, questions about economics, but only questions about Vedanta, of course. And we could go about Q&A unless we want to go and explore a little bit the big picture on the Karma Yoga side. Have you read the material? Yeah. So Claudio, you want to begin our satsang? You can explain the summary of this Karma Yoga chapter. You do the talking today?
Okay, why not? Today I'm in a beautiful place, so why not? I had a question, but maybe not related to Karma Yoga. I read it, and if you want, after we can talk about it. But if you could explain me the Ramji's chart, the triangle there, mind, intellect, and ego. I have some doubts about the lower part of the chart. I understand the higher part, the self, causal body, sattva, rajas, tamas, body, mind, intellect, that I understand. But in the lower part, there are the perception organs in one side. Now I'm not at home, so I don't have the chart here, but I see it before and I could not have a photo of it. But we have, in one side, we have on the base, we have the 5 elements. On one side, we have the perception organs, then the action organs. But above, there are also 5 things. I don't remember the name now. I don't know if you have the chart with you and you can see it. If you don't have, we can do another time. It's not a problem. But I was to understand that I don't understand how it works in the lower part. It means that the dense part of the manifestation is perceived by the sense organ, and then how we respond. This is what it means, this chart on the lower part.
Well, I mean, I will have to have the chart open here to understand it, because Ramji has developed so many of these charts with the help of some friends. And but what is important to understand is that we have the 3 bodies. Ruth is presenting there.
Okay.
We have the 3 bodies, okay? And then at the very bottom, of the pyramid, okay? Okay, Ruth. We have the physical body, the dense body, okay? And then we have the subtle body, and then we have the causal body, okay? In the middle, we have the subtle body. You said you have understood what the mind is, what the intellect, and what the ego is. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that within the subtle body, we also find, usually, Ramji says it would be sandwiched between the physical body and the subtle body. There in between, we have what? We have the pranas, all the physiological systems, the 5 physiological, they are there, okay? And they are part of the subtle body, okay? They are part of the subtle body. They are the pranas. their energy, they attach to the, so in quote unquote, they attach to the subtle body, they're part of the subtle body. We see the context of understanding the graphics. And also within the subtle body, we have the 5 sense organs. Within the physical body, we have the 5 sense instruments, okay? So the sense instruments, like your beautiful nose, does it belong to the physical body or to the subtle body?
Body, physical body.
Physical body. But you have a nose in your subtle body as well. And that nose, it's not physical, but is the organ of, how you say, olfactory, or how to say in English? Okay, so all the 5 senses, they express themselves physically as these things that we have, the touch of the skin and the tongue and the eyes. We have the instruments to perceive the world. We have the physical instruments to respond to the stimulus coming from the physical world. But in the subtle body is an invisible body. It's a subtle. It's made out of certain energies, you know. A lot of sattva guna mixed up with rajas and tamas, and constituted by the elements in their subtle condition, okay? Subtle 5 elements, okay? So this subtle body, okay, within that subtle body, we have all the pranas, okay, all the vital energies, okay, for the digestion, circulation, and for, let's see if I recall all the excretion, digestion, circulation. Help me out here. The one that
I will find.
Yeah.
I will find the chart.
The one that expels the subtle body, or expels anything undesirable from the body out, and then excretion, digestion, regulation of temperature. What's the other one? I forgot. That I already mentioned. So we have those 5 energy systems. They are also known as autonomous, our autonomous systems. They work for us, okay? So this all belongs to the subtle body, okay? It's very subtle energy. Why it appears in between the physical body and the subtle body is, although it belongs to the mind, it somehow activates, vivifies, and animates the physical body. It's very subtle energies that somehow makes this physical body dance, okay, and function. But it belongs to the mind. The mind has to pervade the subtle body. So all these pranas, the one of the system is respiration, you know. So you see the vital air, for example, is one of the energies, one of these pranas that are very much, a lot of the time, it's symbolized. I have Dave try to enter here. A lot of the time, this vital air is called the life itself. The blow, how you say? Il sopro della vita. Il sopro della vita in inglese,
I understand it. I don't know in English. Is the vite.
How you say the of life? Huh?
I didn't hear.
Yes, in Italian, in English, we have to find.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. How you call the breath of life, right?
The breath of life.
God goes and breathes life into the body. So this vital energy called the life, the vital air is one of these 5 systems. Is a lot of the time said to be the self. It's confused with the self, this prana, okay? This is prana maya kosha. Why? Because we observe the physical body and we see when this air comes out and does not go back in, and then it's over. The body begins decaying and dying, you understand? So all these energies, they belong to the mind. When the mind leaves, and then the physical body begins the process of decomposition. So they belong to the mind, but they are intimately related to the physical body, as if they are sandwiched by in that chart, okay? Because it is what vivifies and animates the physical body and regulates everything, okay? The digestion, the respiration, excretion, and the other one, the blood.
Is expulsion, respiration, digestion, circulation, and excretion.
Yeah, excretion. Yeah. So
okay, I have the chart here. I find it.
Yeah, those five pranas, physiological system, they belong to the mind, as I just explained. Okay, they activate and regulate the physical body, but when the mind comes out, the body no longer has these five pranas. It means to say the five pranas belongs to the subtle body. Within the subtle body as well, we have the five sense organs, which are different from the five physical instruments of action and perception. Okay, so the instruments, they are going to decompose, they are going to return to the five elements because they are made of the five elements. Okay, but the mind is going to take the five sense organs. Okay, so this is, I don't know if this helps you to understand what belongs to the subtle body and what belongs to the physical body. Does this this helps you, or there is something more we need to talk about it?
Yes, better. So the fact is that from the five elements, from the physical world, we can say made out of the five elements, we receive the stimulus through the organs, sense organs in the body. Then this goes to the pranas, and then to the mind. Is like that, more or less. But the pranas activate the body, you say, and then goes to the mind, right?
Well, the pranas are there, you know, between the physical body and the subtle body. Let's say it's there keeping it, not only keeping, regulating everything, but those energies keep four of those vital systems, keeps the subtle body attached to the body. Okay, but there is one of those systems is the reversing one. One of those systems serve the purpose to, instead of keeping it attached to the physical body, to detach it from the physical body. Okay, one of them is the reverse physiological system. It pulls undesirable things from the physical body, and it pulls all together the subtle body from the physical body. So these are energies, okay, that belongs to the mind and helps the mind to stay attached to the body until it reverses and activates that energy that expels the subtle body from the physical body. Okay, this belongs to the subtle body, and then the subtle body is alive. It's attached to the physical body. It's doing its function. It's regulating. You know, so to the degree that we are relatively healthy, it keeps doing a good job. Okay, so and then we receive the stimulus from the field. When we receive it, we receive first by the physical body, our physical instruments of perception. But when we receive, it can only be processed if our physical instruments are properly attached to the organs of perception. Okay, the organs of perception is going to back up the instruments of perception. Okay, so that the physical impulse becomes a mental emotional impulse that can be processed by the mind and the intellect, and then the intellect is going to activate the body, the ego, that aspect of our subtle body that believes that I am the doer and so on. I am the thing, and then the ego is going to present a response. This is the dynamics within the subtle body. Okay.
Now it's clear. Thank you. Okay.
So
great. Okay.
Anything else about that? Anybody has anything else to say about this? Hi, Dave. How are you doing? Are you feeling better?
Oh, yeah, thank you for asking. I am feeling better, and I'm working very hard to move with, I'm trying to have a sattvic move. So,
You, you,
and I don't know, it may not be, that may be an oxymoron. And, but I'm trying to keep my stress level down so I stay healthy. And so I think I'll just meet up with a friend for lunch today and relax a little bit.
yeah. I mean, if you can teach some Vedanta to your friend, it helps to
I,
make your mind sattvic.
I'll try, but she's very difficult to train. So she's got her very own opinion, and her name is Ruth. So
Her name is
Ruth,
our Rus or your Rus?
yeah. So
Okay, good luck
I'm
with
not.
that. I mean, it's gonna be difficult. Who is going to teach who there?
Yeah, right. And so are you? Are you? I missed. Sorry, I apologize for being late, but that's just the way the nature of things right now. Are we talking about karma yoga today?
Yes.
Great
Please.
topic. And so
So the most important thing about karma yoga, it's right at the beginning of that chapter, that karma literally means action. And what is the difference between karma and action and the yoga of action?
mhm.
You see, karma, action, and yoga. Yoga, the best, more broad definition of yoga is a spiritual effort or spiritual sadhana. Okay, so what is an action that has a spiritual connotation to it, a spiritual effort, an action which is a spiritual sadhana? Okay, so this is the definition of karma yoga. It's living our lives engaged in the world, doing actions as a householder, but with a certain knowledge slash attitude. You understand? This knowledge allows the karma yoga to do what? Proper actions, appropriate actions in an appropriate timing as well. So appropriate actions with a certain kind of attitude is what defines the yoga of action, karma yoga. Then we may have all the knowledge about karma yoga, but we may never develop an attitude of devotion, gratitude, and acceptance that the results of everything do not belong to us, and so on. So it's a proper action with a super devotee or attitude, a spiritual religion attitude that brings into the picture God and understands that everything happening around us is happening within God, and then every action can have a certain devotional attitude with the spirit of contribution, retribution, gratitude, and so on. So it's a proper action with a proper time, with a religious, spiritual attitude. So this is the simplest but the most uh, complete definition of karma yoga. So we can begin by there. Actions can be divided in different categories, as we know. There are good actions, there are so-so actions, and there are bad actions. Yeah? So, what are the good actions? The good actions are the karma yoga spirit actions. We could call dharmic actions, we could call sattvic actions, but there are actions that understand that the field of action is Ishvara, and every action of ours has to be coming from that perspective, from that understanding that I'm just adding something, I'm just contributing here, and I know that I have no control, but still I'm very happy that I still have the opportunity to be alive and I enjoy my existence, my life, and I want to give back to life what God gave back to me because everything is God. You know? So this is a good action. And a good action is dharmic, and we cannot do dharmic actions unless we have a certain mental, emotional quality that allows us to discriminate between dharma and adharma. Yeah? I often say that the discrimination, we begin refining our discriminating faculty by learning to discriminate between dharma and adharma, good actions and bad actions and so actions. Okay? So this ability to discriminate between dharma and adharma is going to refine our intellect for later on, so that later on we can begin discriminate between Sat and Mithya, which is a much subtler. It's a subtler kind of discrimination. So it begins with understanding God, understanding the laws by which this field of action is structured, intelligent, pure knowledge laws, and then we begin acting in harmony with these universal laws, and then we act knowing that a good action is an action that is serving God. In serving God means serving all beings, not only me, serving God, all beings, right? So this is a sattvic, dharmic, highly spiritual, religious action, an action that takes into account that God is everything, and I need to know that before I present my actions, And of course, it's not easy when we are in the middle of a move. Oh, I'm going to move. They say that move from one city to another is stressful. From one state to another is more stressful. From one nation to another is more stressful. From one continent to another is even more stressful. Just to give you the dimension of how much stress I have been living my life, moving from continent to continent my entire life, you understand? So it's not easy, it's challenging. Everything gets like that, And we need to be gentle with ourselves, knowing that to live a sattvic, very, very centered, and dharmic, and balanced life through a lot of difficulties is something that we have as our goal. Self-knowledge helps us to develop a more and more sattvic mind to the extent that we can discriminate and we can develop this ability to stay balanced in spite of a lot of agitations outside of us and difficulties and so on. So we are talking about actions. A good action is a dharmic, it is a sattvic. And what is a so-so action? A so-so action is a self-centered action, but it's a self-centered action that somehow, due to certain merits or certain growth, inner growth, I want I do what I do to enjoy the results, and the results is about me, but I will not do actions that are going to hurt others and hurt the environment. I'm not going to do actions that are going to be very bad for the Dharma field. You understand? In other words, I'm not going to break the rules, break the laws. I'm not going to cut corners. I'm not going to lie, cheat, manipulate. You understand? I'm going to play by the rules. I'm going to follow society's rules, okay? And if I'm a more religious person, I'm going to follow certain religious notions about right and wrong, okay? But I do things because I want to enjoy the results. I do it for myself, and I don't have a really more sophisticated understanding of God or relationship with God to the extent of understand that God is the field. God is everything and everyone. Therefore, I have immense respect to the field, and then my actions are not only, for myself following the rules, but it's an action understanding that the field of actions is itself Ishvara. This is the very good action, the religious, sattvic, superdharmic way of life. Okay? So, but we are talking now about the Rajasic kind of actions, which is a self-centered action that does not have this more sophisticated, more truthful, more clear understanding that God is manifest as the Dharma field. But otherwise, it's just an action that may follow the rules of society, may follow some religion's principles, but it still is self-centered because the person has a relationship with God, which is my personal God. I talk to him, I pray to him because I want my results to be fulfilled, which is a totally different kind of relationship with God. And the most materialist people, they don't even have bring God into the equation, which takes us to the third level of actions. The bad actions, the people that they reject God. Life for them is just actions for the sake of enjoying sensory pleasures coming from things that I accomplish again, right? And then I do things so that I can gain things, and it's for my satisfaction, for my, my own good. And I'm ready to break the rules, and I'm ready to manipulate, lie, cheat, and violate everything, and I'm ready to kill or to get people to kill for me, which is even worse, It's even a worse karma. Oh no, I don't kill anybody. Yeah, but you get a lot of people killing for you. So those are tamasic actions, very, very unspiritual actions, totally self-centered, without understanding that God is everything, is every human being, and everything is God's creation, and so on. Anything about that, Dave?
Well, I just kind of struck by, I mean, there's three categories here, but then to me that it feels like there's a range. Like if you put this on a range, so you might be something that's totally sattvic, action to all the way to tamasic action, but it's more of a range than or is it really important to sort this thing out? And because to me, there's often a lot of, there may be two motivations to do something. There may be a couple of things going on here. So one's, one's security and to, generate income. At the same time, you might want to generate income, but do it in accordance with your Dharma or with the Dharmic field. And you're doing it in such, you're generating income, but in a way that is environmentally conscious or, it seems to me that there's, is there a concept of ranging between these two? And so there's combinations of these things, kind of like when we talked about gunas, that the gunas are not exclusive. It's combinations of the gunas as they come together that, make up an energy. And so, and so does that really mean that there are totally bad actions, or do you need some tamasic in order to live in this world? So
this is just a general classification, okay, David? But I understand your point. So you're saying like, so I need to have income because I need to keep my lifestyle and so on. And when I go to work, I don't work to get my income and to divide it with all my neighbors. No, I just get it. I get my salary and I spend it, and the most I can be generous and help some people that I know that may be needing some help. Okay, so it is a proper action, especially when you are earning your money, knowing that the earning of this money is not destroying the environment and is not bringing down other people and in their way they can earn their money as well. You understand? So I mean, it can be very complex. You understand? So to do a really scientific action, an action that in the benefit of myself, because sometimes you are not violating the laws. For example, I saw recently, I don't know if you guys saw a documentary on Netflix. It's Seaspiracy. It's about the sea and the conspiracy between the big corporations in exploring, extracting. There is billions and trillions of dollars coming from the sea, and the way that is the fishing industry operates is destroying the sea more than anything else. You understand? So suppose that you do a job like that. You are part of that corporation, and you are doing your proper work and getting a good money to do that. But one day you become aware that that industry is destroying the sea, and the sea is vital for the survival of our civilization. And then right there, you have already a conflict in place, you understand? Because you became aware that you are supporting industry that is very destructive. I'm just presenting one idea, you understand? So it's not always simple, you understand? I know people who stopped doing certain professions when they became aware of how adharmic, although he was doing it dharmically, but behind there was a lot of terrible damage being caused by this and that. So yet people need to survive. You understand? So it's not easy. It's complex. You understand?
But if you want to do the corporation, not to the
Yeah.
I mean the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
to the state.
And
not to the higher field.
Sylvia is saying, Sylvia is presenting us with another concept here, which is like, but if you do a job like that, the karma goes to the corporation, not to you. Okay? But when a self-conscious human being, you are aware that that corporation is an Adam corporation. So what is your duty? Is like saying, okay, I'm gonna change my job. I'm going to look another job, if it's available. If it's not available, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna sell hot dogs, But we need to keep. I mean, ignorance sometimes is bliss in that sense. You understand?
Which hot dogs are bad for people.
Huh?
Hot dogs are bad for people.
No, I was talking I was talking about the one made out of tofu.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and but it's really a fine line between these things. I think we talk about discriminating between them, and I don't know. To me, it sounds very difficult to do that, because what's environmentally conscious is farming the sea. Is that not? That's bad. But selling hot dogs that are processed meat from animals, that's good. It doesn't.
No, I mentioned tofu hot dogs.
Yeah, that could be considered at dark too. So, have you ever tasted one?
Let me see. Silvia wants to say something to us here.
Quello che mata nella guerra che diceva Gandhi, sa che mata, ma lo stesso va alla azione, perché la sua duty servire.
Yeah, I mean, Sylvia's bringing the same analogy presented by Ramji in some of his teachings, and it's a common concept presented by Vedanta. So when we do certain actions, like Arjuna was there and he got involved emotionally, and he said, no, I cannot kill those people that I know and I loved in the past and so on. So he was not understanding that it was not his karma. It was the karma of the society, of his group, It was a collective karma that would go to the nations, would go to his family, not to him, but he had to do what he needed to do. Ranji presents this example of a soldier go to war to defend his nation, for example. It's another fine line thing. And then the soldier is said to go and kill, okay? And then he goes and kills, and he feels guilt, and he does not understand that the karma goes to the nation that somehow forced him to fight a war. But just imagine if the soldier is going to a war that he knows that it's not a fair war, it was not necessary. It was a war moved by economic powers, interests, and so on. And then he himself may feel a conflict. So the bottom line is that all of that is subjective. You understand? The way that these actions are going to be turned into good actions, so actions, and super fine action is a very subjective. It depends on our degree of knowledge, understanding as well. Even a soldier. I mean, so many soldiers have refused to fight the Vietnam war, you know, and those soldiers, they had to escape, they had to, you know, they were demonized and so on, but inside of themselves they were in peace because they did not want to fight a war that they found to be absolutely unfair or unnecessary, let's say, you know. So it's all very subjective, but the goal of a good action, David, and the thing that allows us to understand what is a good action should always bring peace of mind. You understand? It resolves the mind. It's, you feel like resolved. No, I did what is fair, even if it has a certain cost for me, but I did what is fair. It produced. And this is the Karma Yoga. The Karma Yoga is doing actions for what sake? It's not for the sake of personal goals. It's not necessarily only for the sake of collective goal accomplishment, but above all, is doing actions to serve the Lord and to develop a religious, spiritual, sattvic state of mind. You understand? Peace of mind.
So I think we're always looking at the intention behind your action.
Yeah, intention, and it depends on your knowledge as well in regards to actions and its results.
And so something can be, you know, as your knowledge evolves and you gain knowledge, then that might change things as well too. So like you said, you know, if you're exploiting the ocean, but you don't really aware of it, you're just doing it because, you know, for money to, you can raise a family and have a home and do the home ownership type thing. But then as you get knowledge, you start learning how dharmic it is to the environment, to the universe. And then at some point in time, you hit a tipping point where you can't continue to move forward with that as an action, and it becomes increasingly more of, you know, of a bad action. So it moves from middling to bad as your knowledge increases. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. The more we know, the more responsible we become. You know, because we have more and more tools to to discriminate between what's the better action, you know, in the context of the entire field, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like I say, if you don't want to be a vegan, then don't watch Forks Over Knives. So don't get educated about the food production and how that works, because once you become educated, you have no choice than to become a vegan. And I think, and so I tell people that too. I just say, you know, just
if we like to enjoy a salmon or some fish here and there once in a while, don't watch this documentary that was just recently released. You know, Seaspiracy, because it is shocking. Okay, you are going to say something, Claudio?
Yeah, I was saying that I was thinking that there are some moments in life maybe that you have some troubles with work, and it can happen that you have to do some work that are not totally dharmic, maybe. And I think that it could happen, you know, in life. And I think in this moment you have to maybe do some do this action in a more sattvic way, in the more possible sattvic way. This thing, for example, I like 10 years ago, I was working on some boats, you know, on the chart boats there, and on the morning I have to, for example, wash the boat, and I have to use some chemical products, of course, no? And all the chemical products falls on the sea. And then I feel this was not dharmic, no? I don't like to make pollution or something like that. So, but in this moment, I need this work. So I try little by little not to leave the work the day after, but I think I do it in a sattvic way. I try to accept the fact for the moment, and little by little I search something else.
Absolutely,
So it's like, I think sometimes we have to negotiate with Ishwara. Maybe sometimes don't bring us immediately the perfect solution, so we have to go little by little sometimes.
We have gradually, you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys understood what I'm doing. I have decided to make a movement toward nature, you understand? And we see the possibilities to avoid, you know, this kind of lifestyle moved by certain values that have been destroying, I mean, or being damaged to the environment, you know. I mean, it's impossible for us to go back in time and live like 100 years ago, but I want to minimize the negative impact of my life on the environment as well, you know. And also for the sake of my self-interest of living more health, breathing a better air, eating locally grown food. You know, we are growing food as well. So live a life. I mean, if we would be radical, we would say, okay, I'm not going to use car anymore. How can you not use a car if you live in Los Angeles or if you live in Milano? You know, so we need to. It's not easy, you know. I mean, to live, you know, like we used to live in the past, not having a negative impact. So it's something altogether, you know, possible, but not absolutely possible. You know, Ishwara is going to figure out everything for us at the end.
So we're talking about we're all going to become Amish.
Huh?
Become Amish? Are you familiar with Amish?
No.
Amish lifestyle is really a retro lifestyle that, I mean, to my understanding of it, but they don't engage in modern technology. I mean, they still horse and buggy. They still, you know, farm and focus on farming and growing their own food, building furniture that's considered very clean and proper and that kind of thing, but everything in alignment with the environment. And to live that lifestyle in America, which is where, you know, it exists, is I'm sure very, very challenging. And
it is challenge. It is challenge, and it's. I mean, we don't need to go to that extreme to be a Kami Yogi and to be a Yanni. You know, we can live within society, doing the best we can, knowing that the whole thing is very complex, and Ishwara has brought this complexity somehow all together, and we do what we can, and we leave it all to Ishwara in the end. You know, I mean, we can do anything. You know, I have made this decision, and everything has a downside. I have decided to go more to nature, you know, for my self-interest, you know, of having good soil, wonderful air, perfect water that comes from the spring, natural pools where I swim at my backyard, literally, you know. So I'm living a very, very, but as you have realized, there are some downsides as well, you know, like everything in life, you know. I mean, to come here to Brazil, it's 3 hours trip. Yeah, you know, to do some medical exams and to do some more important shoppings. So there are downsides for everything, you know. So let's move on. So there is a certain classification on these actions. No? It talks about in respect to sattvic action, the scripture recommends 5 sacred actions, worship of God. You know? So the God can be worshipped in different levels, different ways, according to our understanding of God, you know. It may take a form as a prayer, as we know, and this prayer can be a very self-centered prayer, saying like, oh God, I want this, and I don't want that. Please, please, here I am, give me what I want, you know. Can be a very, very simple, you know, and primitive kind of prayer like that. But it can be beautiful prayers, you know. What is a beautiful prayer in this relationship of worship with God? Is a prayer of gratitude, you know. I say, thank you, God, another day of life, another beautiful day, you know. And so things like that. Thanks for this meal, and thanks for that. So keeping in mind this attitude, this kind of spirit of accurate attitude, and developing this vision of God as the field and as every circumstance of life, which serves certain purpose, So we can do mantras, japas. Studying the scriptures, is another form of worshiping God. Why? Because these scriptures, they were revealed by God. You understand? God has revealed. These are the words of God, the words of Ishwar, the words of consciousness, of Brahman. It was revealed by God, for the human jivas, which are God creation. So studying the scriptures is a form of prayer. And there are several other activities, So being the stud on the scriptures, on self-knowledge, being the highest form of devotion, the highest form of prayer, the highest form of devotion to God is to devote to self-knowledge, studying this ultimate revelations revealed to us now as the Upanishads. So there is another kind of actions that is very much recommended as good actions, which is worshiping our parents, which is sometimes difficult for us to understand in the Western societies, because in the Western society we are so caught up with, oh, I have a trauma and this and that, and this does not feel good, and I hate my mother. I have hate my mother for so long until I grew up a little bit more to understand that my mother was not the the villain of the story. I came within this relationship with my mother because it was the best possible custom designed context or situation to allow me to learn certain things in life, for example. So we love our parents because their parents, through these parents, we got this love, and we are grateful to our parents for the opportunity, although it all happens mechanically. But again, it's through our parents that we come to life. Rather than hate them, it's important that we develop a health-loving relationship. Otherwise, this relationship with our parents, if it's not properly developed within love, it's going to condition all other relationships with all other creatures, all other beings, and with life itself. Which goes to our parents and elders. Why elders? Because when we are young, usually we are arrogant. We have the youth, we have a level of energy, and we easily develop this idea that, oh, these old folks, they are already obsolete. You understand? They don't understand, and so on. So they don't understand that there is a certain wisdom that can only come with experience. The young people, they don't have experience, but they have a high level of energy, and they look down at the older people because they have less energy, but they have more wisdom because there is a certain wisdom that can only be gained by experience. So we need to understand that and be respectful and appreciative of the elders as well. So we have this in Ramayana epic, the situation of Rama, that it's also called the Dharma Raja, the Dharma king, the king of Dharma, that in spite of whatsoever his father did, which was to send him to exile, he was still being devoted to his father and worshiping his father and obeying his father, although his father was responsible for his exile. Worship of the scriptures is a higher kind of relationship with God and worship, because now as we already established in our first commentary here, we are worship, we are adoring, we have reverence to the sampradaya, to these scriptures, okay, because we know it came from Ishwara, it came from the Lord for that those jivas, with certain spiritual punya or merits, punya merits, so that we came in contact with these scriptures. Therefore, we have incredible value and appreciation, reverence to the scriptures. Understand these scriptures are God manifesting in words. Understand? It's very important to understand that the scriptures and God, is the same thing. Those are the words of God. And if we have this kind of value for the scriptures, and then we're going to keep our mind studying the scriptures daily and reflecting upon their meaning. Service to humanity. So it's another good action. It's more like a social kind of action that it's often misunderstood or overemphasized by certain spiritual groups. A lot of spiritual groups go to the extent to imagine that Karma Yoga is to do charity, is to do selfless work, either to a guru, to build an ashram, or to go around helping the poor. So this selfless work, all these charities, is one among many aspects of good actions, of a Karma Yoga lifestyle. You understand? It's not like what characterizes a Karma Yogi, but it's one of many aspects. Karma Yoga mostly is a knowledge-based, appropriate action with a religious, spiritual attitude, which includes the development of empathy and sensibility to give back to the field and to give back to others, or to help others in need. And depending on the temperament of each one of us, some of us is going to say, okay, this is the purpose of my life. This seems to be my sworn down. I'm going to become the next Mother Teresa. And I'm going to go around trying to alleviate the pain of other people. This is all possible. This is God as well, putting a vasana on someone. So this someone becomes a punya karma in the lives of people who are going through a lot of papa karma, living a lot of adversities and poverties and pain. And then there is a little punya coming by someone like Mother Teresa to alleviate the pain of so many people, for example, right? And then the last aspect of these good actions is service to all living creatures. So it's be respectful to the environment, all jivas, all living creatures, including the trees. We develop a sensibility that this is all God. God has created everything for a certain purpose. And then somebody comes and says, and then you should never stop killing mosquitoes. And then I have to come back and say, mosquitoes were not created by God. It was created to the devil, so that it can drive the jivas crazy. No, I'm kidding. So God creates the mosquitoes as a papa karma for the jivas, right? So our jivas, you are okay. I'm going to get the mosquitoes to get you, okay? Or cockroaches. How about being in a place infested with cockroaches? Oh my God, how am I going to kick? I have 250 cockroaches in my apartment, and they are all creatures of God. Just imagine the conflict, David. How are you going to kill those creatures of God? The only understanding we have is this is God sending me some papa karma, no? Just kidding, huh? Service to all living creatures, including the cockroach. This action involves service to non-human beings, such as animals, plants, forests, and cockroaches. It means respecting all life and not permitting cruelty to any suffering cockroach for the sake of our own appetites and so on. Nature is delicately balanced and should be revered, and protect. All these actions contribute to a pure and scientific mind. Qualifying the seeker for moksha, how big or small these actions should be, will depend upon the time and resource of the individual. Okay, so I'm just dramatizing, explain the thing about mosquitoes and cockroach. So it's building into nature that life lives on other lives. Energy is never destroyed. It's just constantly transformed or convert into something else. Okay, and it's natural that we try to kill a mosquito You understand? Otherwise, it would be crazy, and we would come to the extreme of some people in India. I think it's what name that religion that they cover the face? Johnny, you need. I forgot. There is a religion in India in which they cover the face and they walk very slowly because they say with the breath we kill a lot of germs and small little creatures in the air. You understand? So I mean, it makes no sense. You understand? So God created us like that. When I go walking in the beginning, when I moved for the countryside, I was being very careful not to step on small little ants. But after some time, I say, oh my God, I mean, what am I gonna do? If I was not ever meant to kill ants, so Ishwara would have given me the possibility of levitating and avoiding stepping on the ants, you know? So, I mean, I have to walk, and here and there I'm going to kill some insects. Anything else? So these so actions are actions that, as I said before, they are self-centered, they are desire-based actions. They contribute to my material well-being. By that, their contribution is not spiritual growth, okay? The spiritual growth of the Rajasic actions are minimal, if any, okay? The sattvic dharmic actions, they may not produce much material gains, you know, but produce what? Spiritual growth, peace of mind, you understand? Refinement of mind. Okay, so the Rajasic, it's going to produce material gains and accomplishments, and not much spiritual, you know, because the person did not understand very much what God is and what Karma Yoga is. He may not break the general laws of society, but yet his actions are self-centered. You understand? And therefore, it does not produce much spiritual elevation. And the bad actions, as we have said, are those actions that are totally tamasic. I want what I want, the way I want, and when I want. And, you know, I don't have the time and energy and the patience to develop the skills so that I can play by the rules. Therefore, I'm going to deceive, I'm going to lie, I'm going to cheat, I'm going to cut corners, and so on, so that I can accomplish my goals, you know. And I know a lot of people are going to be hurt because I'm breaking the laws and rules. But you know, I don't care. I don't want to look that, you know. I just ignore that aspect, and I may believe that I even believe that I'm not doing any harm to anybody. Oh, but it's normal to do this. It's normal to cheat. I mean, I live in a country now in Brazil, which is part of the society to deceive and cheat. It is a dharmic kind of society in general. People are beautiful, the most of people, but the people controlling and managing the world are very corrupted. And it goes in all levels of society, this notion that it is natural to deceive and cheat if you want to survive in an environment like that. You understand? I remember the first time when Ishwara started bringing me to Brazil to share this knowledge, I was like, oh my God, Ishwara, please, no, not Brazil, not Brazil. I left Brazil decades before because it is an Adamic society. And Ishwara was bringing me back to Brazil, developing this Sangha here. And I was resisting until one friend of mine told me, but he's bringing you here just because this is an Adamic society. So we need to teach Dharma here in Brazil, you understand? So you never know. So these bads, they bring about all this cheating, lying, and such actions inevitably have negative consequences for the individual doing the action, as well for others in the society. It's going to damage, it's going to hurt society, it's going to create more and more negative environment, increasing sattvika karma, reducing rajasa karma, and avoiding tamasa karma should be the aim of all seekers of liberation. So this is very nice. because it's say our goal here is to increase our sattvic karma and reducing rajasic karmas and avoiding to the best of our ability Dhamma karmas. This is the aim. So it means to say that sometimes, either by unconscious mistakes, sometimes conscious mistakes, we may do some tamasic karma, and we need to understand that we need to be, gentle with ourselves, and then we correct ourselves and say, okay, this was not good. You understand? So if I need to apologize, I apologize. If it's not necessary to apologize, I don't apologize. But we are a work in progress, as I often say. So our spiritual elevation is a work in progress. It's even after self-recognition, self-knowledge, we still keep working to defeat this universal ignorance, cosmic ignorance that compels human jivas to do tamasic actions and rajasic actions as well. Okay? A Karma Yoga attitude. Karma Yoga attitude, the essence of Karma Yoga is, as we said, a good attitude with a good action with a beautiful attitude. Okay? Action is unavoidable in life. Every single action we undertake, countless actions in the pursuit of various goals. But rather than getting emotionally invested in these actions and anxious about the results, Karma Yoga enables us to see that the results of our actions are determined by God. So there is a totality of all factors. This is called God. In Sanskrit, it's called Daivan. It's a totality. It's God is the totality of all factors. So therefore, this knowledge base is going to allow for a spiritual religious attitude called dispassion in respect to the results of my life, because I know that there is an infinity of factors, and these factors, they are called dharma, and it is cause effect, causality, the very basic law of the field, cause and effect, cause and effect. This is dharma. The totality of all factors is God. It's another way of understanding God. This knowledge allows an attitude of dispassion in respect to the result, and not only that, but it allows for development of an attitude of reverence to the field, in respect to the field, and dedication, consagrations of our actions for the health benefits of the field. Okay, this is all the benefits of this good action, the attitude of Karma Yoga. So again, Karma Yoga is a knowledge base. That's why Karma Yoga is within Vedanta. It's a knowledge base. It's a knowledge of what? Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat, and the way it all relates to Brahman, to consciousness, to awareness. Okay? So, and the understanding of Michan allows us to understand also Ishvara as the laws governing the human experience in life. Okay? So that in understanding all these laws, we can follow the most fundamental law as far as human beings are concerned, which is karma, the karmic, ethic, psychological laws. We need to understand them so that we can live our lives and naturally process mental, emotional, intellectual refinement. Okay, my friends, I'm going to stop here because I still have many things to accomplish today here in Brasilia. And I meet you guys on Monday. I forgot to send you in my last email the title of that book of that I mentioned in our last class. What's the name? The principle? Tripura Rahatya. So I'm going to put it in the email I sent to you guys tomorrow, most probably tonight. It's a very nice book, and I talk to you soon again. I wish you a good move, David, and good luck with your new place. And love you guys. And we meet again, Ishvara willing. Okay? Much love. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. See you soon again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.